Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the MFL Ramble, the Metaverse Football League. In the chat, I can see already we've got Hoodwink first, got Andy Official second, we've got Big Mr. K third, we've also got Bruce in there and Kev appearing as if by magic in two places. As you'll see this week, we have no Hoodwink. He's being a dutiful son and a glorious guy, and he's taking his mother out for Mrs. H's birthday. So happy birthday to Mrs. H, and that's mother Mrs. H, not his wife. But so I hope you enjoy your lunch, Hoodwink, or have enjoyed your lunch. I don't know what time you went out or going out, but great to see you, or great to see you in the chat anyway. And this week I am joined by Kev. How are you, mate?
Very good, sir. Very good. Glad to be on again. Yeah, looking forward to this one. Good to have this man on as well.
Nice, yeah. And this week we've got on another special new guest, and that is MiniMe, aka Sean. Look, I remembered. God, amazing.
Oh, it's Shane, but we'll leave
Shane.
It's Shane. It's all right. You know what? I've dealt with it all my life. It's okay.
How you doing, Shane?
Yeah,
right?
Not too bad, thank you. Thank you. We almost got it right. It's fine. You know what? Honestly, I was that kid in class when people shouted out my name, they go, "Where's Sean?" And I'm like, "We don't have one in this class, mate."
Anyway, okay. I'm back. Anyway, so how's everything going with you, chaps? How's everything going with you, Kev?
Good, yeah. Really good start to the season. Aye, happy. Everything's good. I'm still working on the engine, still trying to figure out bits and pieces. But yeah, generally the rotations and formations I'm picking are going really well.
Nice. What about you, Shane?
Quite well.
I had to think about that for a second because I had Sean like plugged into my mind.
Yeah, everyone does. I even have a name badge at work, and people still say like, "How are you doing, Sean?" I'm like, "Come on, it's on my name badge." But yeah, quite well. Like I said a couple of weeks ago on the pod, whilst I was watching you guys, I was like, right, I'm devastated. I've got like Kevin in the league, and I was like, this ain't gonna go well. I was like, I think we're predicted 8th. I'm currently sat first, 3 points clear at the moment, so it's working well for me at the moment, to be fair.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely have a look at that sort of stuff in a minute. But before we move on, today we're going to be speaking about we'll speak about MiniMe's journey to start off with, find out how he found the game, where he is right now, and how he got there in between. We'll talk about how our seasons are going so far, and then finally, how do you decide on the tactics you're going to use every season? Are you just to rip it, like you just play the same formation every season, and if it works, it works? Do you put a bit more thought into it? And we'll be going through that and looking at different ways, because it's sort of, I've been speaking to Kev for quite a while about sort of tactics, you know, best part of a year. And I think we've slowly sort of diverged how we do it. And rather than sort of like one way like that I used to do it, I've gone a completely different route now. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Kev's way. Who's to say which is right? Who knows? But maybe we both get to the same goal in the same way as well. And of course, we'll be asking MiniMe, aka Shane, how he does it as well. But before we get to that, we did have the club pack giveaway last week. The total number of goals scored by our team's first day of the season. We scored 32 goals, I believe. I'm trying to remember this. And the closest person was MFL Ryan, aka Ryan Walter. Content creator's luck. But, you know, he had to guess. And he guessed 33 goals, so he was one out. And I believe he should have the club pack and kickoff pack he got from us as well for... was it kick? Yeah, it was a kickoff pack, wasn't it? From the Ramble Divas, Ramble Divas, whatchamacallit, the goal rush, yeah. But, which I'm still recovering from. Sorry if I don't feel particularly with it today. I had a decent night's kip last night and then woke up this morning, and it's one of those where you wake up and I was like, oh fuck, I feel like I need to go back to bed already. So I've been stocking.
You're all good. We're just glad that you're here.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. But we've got a few more people appearing in the chat. We've got Peter Barkentin.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Peter.
And we've got Andrew Q. Good afternoon, gent. Good afternoon to you as well, Andrew. But right, let's talk all about MiniMe, aka Shane. How did you find this game?
So I'm in the Telegram of Quinny's, and I've always kind of followed Quinny stuff. I was like a subscriber since, I don't know if anyone else remembers, but he used to do FI on his phone, and he'd go through it all and stuff like that before he got his proper setup and stuff. So obviously I was in FI when he was in there. I was like looking at stuff he was looking at, and then obviously I was on So Rare, and then he started playing MFL, and I've always been like a big Football Manager kind of player. I take my local club within Shawtown from like the abyss of nowhere all the way up to Champions League winners. That's how much I'll play it. Like, I'll play it on my phone in work and stuff when I'm not supposed to. And then I seen he was playing it once. I think it was season 3, around there, and it was like just before the LED boom kind of in the Penfez video. I got in. I think I actually loaned a star striker from you, David, and I was like, and I got a couple of hoodwinks guys, and I got my first team. And I was like, right, I love this. This is mint. I was like, we need to keep on going with this, because I'm with my ADHD. I'm very much like, I'll put my foot into one thing, and then I'm like, oh, something shiny over there, I'll go for that as well. But like MFL just blew me away. I was just like, right, this is something different. I'm just a proper DJ, so I like every pack drop, I've got to go in for a pack, and all stuff like that. That just kind of scratched the itch, for me, because like I said, I'm 27, so I'm on that preface of like the gaming industry of like when FIFA came out. That was like when I was young, so I'm used to opening all the packs and like the gamble kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I got into it through Quinny, and I was like, oh, 1 second, what's this pack thing that he's buying here? I'll have a go at that. And then I think I opened my first pack, and I think it was a limited pack, and I got a goalkeeper, and I was well upset. I was like, oh, and I was like, who wants a goalkeeper? And then I think he kept the most clean sheets in my first season. I was like, oh, that's why we want a goalkeeper, kind of thing. So yeah, just through Quinny, really.
No, nice. Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? It's sort of like I think one of the things that MFL has nailed is the RNG sort of element of like, just the randomness of like, it's not predictable. Progression isn't predictable. It could be great. Like, the pack openings and stuff like that. You could get a superstar, or you could get someone that is rubbish, but could still be a superstar in the future. And I think that element of RNG within the game just keeps everybody engaged and sort of like wanting more. And I completely agree. It hooked me fairly quickly as well. It's funny because we're organising an anniversary stream in a couple of weeks. I think the 13th of November, and we're going to get Matt on because it's been a year since he was on the show last, and talk about all kinds of fun stuff. And last night, Kev, me, and Hoodwink went down sort of a memory lane, and we were looking at sort of like the first cards we got when we signed up, and there was like I thought the first card I got was Vito Coppola. Actually, it turns out it wasn't. He was a pack, like the second or third pack, but the same sort of rough time. But it was quite interesting looking at those players and the progression they've had or not had in certain people's instance. But really fun times. But so like you joined MFL then, like you played that first season. I learned your star striker. Can you remember who that was off the top of your head? Probably still got him.
Pachetta.
Pachetta. Yeah, he was the third card I ever opened in my starter packs. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like at the start, like obviously you don't really the onboarding's got a lot better. But like I didn't really know what was going on. I was like, oh, look at that, there's a club pack. I'll have a go at that. So I got my club and stuff. And then I was like, right, I need to get loans in. So I got all the loans in, bought players and stuff. And then I got Pachetta, done some just basic, very basic tactics, and then he ended up scoring. I think it was like 30 goals that season. I was just like, oh, mint. And then I think I messaged about buying him off you, and I was like, it's a lot. And then I wish I got him now, because it's like I look down. I wish it was a bit easier, to be fair, to look down, the scale of who you first got in and stuff like that. But I look back then, and I just wish I had all them players from that first season, even just sat round the club, just as like club legends kind of thing.
So were you Santiago City?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you had a brilliant season for you. 22 games, 22 goals, 9 assists. Pretty solid.
Yeah, he was pretty good, and I was like, right, I need to get this guy in. And then, like I said, I ended up doing a deal with Snake a couple of months back. Got rid of like a load of my guys from that first season, and like now when I scroll back through, I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't get rid of him. I wish he was still around. You know what I mean? But the way the game goes, I guess.
Yeah. Bruce has just dropped some alpha in the chat. Thank you, Bruce. Says Kit Creator is live.
Yeah, Lucas just announced it on the MFL Discord.
Well then.
Yeah.
Are we going nostalgic kits, like old Arsenal kits?
Let's have a quick
I'll
look.
be having a lot of fun with that.
I'm not going to do it all completely now. Ooh, this is fun. Unfortunately, and I could be wrong because I'm not reading the the press release from Lucas, but I'm pretty sure these won't be outfitted to your cards at the moment. But I imagine that will come fairly quickly, probably next season. I would imagine, knowing how quickly they work. Is that right? Is anyone reading the press release?
Let's see.
I believe they said it earlier, didn't they? That it won't be attachable straight away. They're just going to deploy it so you can mess around with it, kind of thing.
This is fun anyway. It's got it up on the screen. So yeah, no, I'm definitely going to have a play around with this later. Although, funnily enough, the kit that they've put out straight away for the Monkey Magic looks pretty good. We got for the away.
So it's free this season, but season 10 you'll need to pay for it as well as rebranding your club. That's fair. At least they've told us.
Yeah. Everything they do well. They give us warning. They knocked it out of the park. Yeah, no, this is definitely fun. And I'm assuming that the end goal is to have these outfitted onto the cards, like so you can change the kits and cards, which would be absolutely fun. But yeah, no, I'll definitely be having a play around with that later. That is fun. But
the template D-Gens one is incredible. I might just use that.
Yeah, I know. I loaded it up and I thought, I don't know how I could beat that. I'll have to have a play around. But I'll probably end up going with the default one. But I'm sure I'll have a play around with it anyway. But
yeah, it's fun.
Well, that's nice. Anyway, great timing for the streams. Definitely having a play. It'd be funny if like everybody goes and then like actually that kit is brilliant and just literally uploads it straight away. I wonder where you will see where it has any relevance, because obviously for the time being, like the dots on the screen won't be it. You've already got your colours for your team, so they're set in there. Maybe it will show somewhere during matches or something.
You think it'll pop up in the fixture list as well? So like home and away, and
maybe
like
the players on the pitch when you're setting your team, they'll have those kits on there. When you're playing your tactics and stuff like that. But we'll have to have a play around with that in a bit. But actually, I might as well just have a play around quickly now and have a quick look. So if I go to Monkey Matadors and go to tactics, yes, look at that. Sets it up on there. That's beautiful. Nice. So we'll have it within the match, but only on like the overview of your team. Which is
wow, yeah, the tactics screen's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice. And I don't know like how realistic it is. Obviously, they've got over 200,000 players now. So I imagine that as I said, I'm pretty sure that somebody said, unless I'm imagining it, but you'll be able to upload them eventually to the players within their actual cards, which will be fun in itself. But I don't know how long that'll take. Maybe for next season. I'm expecting like season 10. We've got Matt on in a few weeks, so that will be coming in towards the end of the season, won't it? The 13th of November. So it will be interesting then. We'll better fire all the questions and hopefully get a bit of alpha on what's coming for season 10. But yeah, that'll be fun. Anyway, that's down the line. Today we've got MiniMe. So tell us, MiniMe, you got you bought your first club. How quickly was it before you bought your second club? Because I did have a quick look before we started streaming, and you do, like most people that love the game, have 1 or 2 clubs.
I have 6. I have 6 now, planning to go to at least, I'm going to say 12 by the end of the season, hopefully.
6? You've only got 3 registered.
Yeah, so I was speaking to Kev about it. So when I first joined, I actually bought 2 clubs. So me and my uncle, we play like FIFA and stuff all the time together. We've always done like a lot of stuff together, like games like So Rare. He always comes in with a bit of a smaller budget than I do, but we'll play them together. So I actually bought his club for him so he'd get into it. So I was like, right, got a bit of spare money. There you go. It was his birthday at the time, so I was like, go and buy yourself an MFL club. It's like, I love it. You'll love it. You know, we're both, like I said, football manager players, so it's like an obvious thing. So what I do now is I know that the club sending is going to come in, but before every season, I'll bring his 3 clubs in. I'll take, like, I think we do it 25% split, so he gets an automatic 25% no matter what. And then he can loan players into that club. So he prefers the progression based, where I prefer the MFL income.
Yeah.
I think opening packs is better for me than it is watching someone progress so much, because I've had it so many times where someone's like, I think my best progressor is plus 14 and he's just sat on a tier break. He's not doing anything else.
Yeah.
So he loves the progression aspect and like buying and selling, and so he's gone full like agent style now. He doesn't own an actual club, even though he runs 3. He'd prefer to manage, and then at the end of the season he just sends them back, loans them in. So like I said, I do it on a 25% plus whatever he wants to put into clubs.
Okay. Well, whatever works for you. But as you said, like I think by the sounds of it, it's relatively close as well, that being able to sort of like hand clubs off to people to sort of manage for a season. I know, is it, I'm trying to think who it is. One of the big guys does that already, doesn't he? Ron John.
Yeah, I spoke to Ron John.
I think they only get 10%, so I think you're offering a better deal to your cousin than...
They're doing it with Yorkshire TNXP. It's brilliant what they've done.
Yeah, well, my thing is obviously because he's family, I can kind of trust it. I don't want to hand off a club to just anybody, and then the club gets ran into like relegation because they can't really be bothered. Like I'm fine with relegation. Like we've got a team at the moment that I expected to do a lot better than it is doing. It's sat in a relegation zone, so I will go buy players to put into that to get it back like out into safety.
Which one's that?
Valencia, I believe.
Oh, sorry, one of the teams you've sent out to him.
Yeah, so the one I've sent out, his username's Tom172 on here. So like I said, he's got 3 of my clubs. But I just think it works. I think like he gets the benefit of still playing the games. I get the benefit of at the end of the season, no matter where they end, I still get the MFL. So if I end up going in and buying like a rare pack or anything like that, I've got that player, or I can sell that on and bring more players in, kind of thing. As I was saying to Kev, I'm looking to put in about £500 a month until I've got a big enough agency and that many clubs that I'm like, right, this is a bit too much now. But I had 6 clubs last season, and that was fine for me. Like I got most mid-table finishes.
So what's your strategy then? I'm just looking at you, and you've got a fairly decent sized gallery of agency of players now. So let me quick look. I can't work out here how many you've got. 268. That's decent. That's like a pretty large amount, and it looks like you obviously have got your sort of stars that you own and stuff like that you use in sort of your main teams. But like me, you've got a pretty large agency of players below that. Although just looking at them, you're trying to offload a lot of them at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're guys that are just old and have been through dev jail and not produced anything. What's your sort of plan with that on that side at the moment?
So, like I said, I spoke to Ron John and I asked his feelings about multi-club ownership. So, no matter what, I always want to be competitive. I don't ever want to go into a league and feel like there's no competitiveness out of the team. But I was speaking to Ron John about like how he feels with multi-clubs and where did he find that it was like the perfect balance for him, because obviously like I have 2 kids. I want to see my kids. I don't want to spend like 90% of my time on MFL. So where this multi-club ownership does come in handy is if anyone is looking for a club, reach out. Obviously, like I'm not going to say you're guaranteed to get one, but you know, if you've been in the community for quite a while and I'm like, you know, I turn around to yourself or Kev or Hudders and I go, right, you know, like, have you ever spoke to this guy before? Is he a proven like manager in respects of he will give it a go? Kind of thing, then I'll be able to send clubs. So my strategy is just as many clubs as I can get, as many players as I can get, until it gets to a point where I'm like, right, this is enough now. Like I'm content and I'm happy. Where that is, that could be 1,000 players and 500 clubs, or that could be like, you know, wherever that is, it's just wherever it takes me on the day. On a day-to-day basis, like I said, I had 6 clubs last season, didn't find it an issue. I've only got 3 this season, and they're all relatively doing well.
I mean, I've got 7 clubs, and once I sort the tactics out, it's not an issue. I don't, you know, I just can go in, tune into the matches, set a team, and it's just a bit of fun entertainment for a few hours a day. You know, obviously, I then check progression in the morning, and you know, if the transfer window's close, I might have a look for players as well. But you know, it's not. You don't need to stick in hours and hours a day to it. If you don't want to, you can sort of take days off and stuff like that if you set your teams. But you know, what I have found is like with 7 teams, I try and get them all playing the same way, just because it makes sorting out the tactics a lot easier. You know, Kev will attest. I've been playing quite a lot of friendlies over the last few days. You know, trying to work stuff out, and annoyingly, a lot of stuff has been working in friendlies and not necessarily on the pitch. But you know, I think I found something which works. Had a few big wins yesterday. I know Sid sort of pointed out that Monkey Magic had a big win yesterday. Yeah, I think it was 7 or 8-0, which is the biggest ever win in silver. I think the team I was playing was a bit like they've mailed it in for the season, but you know, you still need to beat them, don't you? But it was a few of my backups out as well. But yeah, no, so I completely agree with you. And like, you know, how do you feel about the progression, Shane?
So progression for me, like I like it in the aspect of like the difference between MFL and obviously Football Manager is you have to actually set training. I wake up in the morning, depending on if I'm on a morning shift or a late shift. So I'll wake up in the morning. If I'm on a late, I go, oh, look, that's nice. This one's gone +1. Great. He's had a stat increase. To me, I have like special players. So I have like, I had Perini last season and I like kind of gutted that I sold him. So I had a striker that's gone up to 80 rated. I had him for like ages as well. I think I bought him when he was like 75 rated and he went all the way up and I was like devastated. But at the time, that's kind of what I needed. I needed to bring in some cash to move some things around in my personal life. And I also had an 84 rated goalkeeper that I got from a pack. He yesterday went to 85. So I was like kind of gutted seeing that. But I got $300 for him. So it was like a win-win for me.
Pretty solid for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So progression, like for me, I like seeing it and I like that it's automated. I don't have to go in there and set a certain thing. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see with retired players that if I can put a retired player in there that will specifically boost, you know, something or give them helps or like, you know, kind of like a legend coming back into a club to help youngsters. That little tidbit of information would be great.
Yeah, no, I quite like that. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I'm sure, like on the big MFL whiteboard in the office, you know, utility for retired players is something that is on there, probably low priority, but I imagine it's on there because, you know, it does get mentioned a fair amount, doesn't it? But
I went to obviously the Paris meetup and I asked the question like quietly in a corner. Like I said, I'm not really a social, like I'm social enough, but I do get timid. So you know what I mean. But I asked quietly in a corner. I was like, "What are we gonna do with retirees?" Because I think my best retiree is an 81 rated left mid. But I like to go into the market sometimes. Like if I'm seeing like a retiring Lego that I could use and he's only $80. I always split every purchase into how many seasons I should get out of them and how much cash does that offer me throughout them seasons. So like I bought the right winger, I think he's 30 years old, for 65. So then I just split that into possibly 4 seasons, possibly 5. You know, I just look at it in that kind of aspect of how much is he cost me for what I'm going to get out of him. So
it's an amazing price for an 84 rated.
Yeah, well, like I said before we started, like I'm sorry to people that I've done it to, but I am quite cheeky. I'll just go in there and I'll just say, right, I want it for this price, and like I'm kind of stubborn in that way. Like I think just how my brain works, like I'll find 3 or 4 options, and then I'll go start with option number 1, then 2, then like if I'm not getting that, then I'll have backups and to that option. And obviously, like I just got option number 1 with that one, so I was quite lucky.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to negotiate if you're doing sort of sales training, you know, or buyer training. On the other flip side of that, they always teach you that, you know, to be a good buyer, you have to be prepared to walk away from a deal. You know, if the deal, like, you don't get the price you want, then walk away. You know, and they may come back to you. And same with selling and stuff like that. Don't let people sort of you know, if you've got a minimum price, stick to that minimum price. You know, someone else might come in and pay more for it. And I think we've also seen this season, I think you mentioned it before we started recording, that, you know, prices do seem to be sort of trending up a little bit already. Maybe it's because a lot of the people that wanted to leave or get out have got out, and, you know, prices sort of, you know, have stabilized and maybe heading up a bit more. But yeah, like with retired players, I completely agree with you. I don't know whether, like, as a short-term fix, not that it's a problem that needs fixing, but as a short-term thing, maybe just when a player retires or when you've got a retired player, you have an assistant manager and coaching staff within the club, and you can just assign them to those roles, and they just sit in there. They have no sort of like extra utility within the game, but it's just a fun thing to do. It's just something to put them in, like, you know, your club and coaching staff, and you can just stick them in there, and that's it. And I think if they did that short term, it would at least give some utility for them, and then maybe work out a plan for, like, I know Matt spoke ages ago now on one of on a stream with Jimbo, I think, about like having an overhauling training, and that could be a part to it, like those cards. But in the short term, if you just had a section on the site, assistant manager, coach, and you could just stick players in there. And they literally have no value, but I reckon that would appease a lot of people.
Well, here's an idea as well. Imagine the coaches did have value. So say you had a 56 rated guy that was terrible. He retires. Say he progresses as a coach and becomes incredible. Say he's tradable as an incredible coach. You can then sell him as a profit.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I think all of those, you know, all of that is great. I just think that takes a lot more work. Like they need to overhaul training and sort of coaching for that to become a thing. But in the short term, just have a page on the website, club's hierarchy or whatever, like owner, manager, assistant coach, and you can just sign cards there, and it has to be retirement cards. You know,
that's definitely a better short-term version of what I was saying.
Yeah.
Well,
you like your idea of having, like, you know, them becoming like coaching and then earning coaching progression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is definitely sort of long-term utility and a great sort of like way to sort of overhaul training as well. And like those coaches, you know, maybe their kits turn to suits and stuff like that. Or,
exactly, yeah. And how much fun would that be? Imagine like you've got a crap coach that's just flying progression-wise.
Yeah.
And it's someone else you can check every morning as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
the thing I found was it also helps. So I've noticed that MFL, the problem with this game is when you get too much MFL, what you're actually going to spend it on. Because 90% of people will just go out and buy common packs to list straight on Floaty or wherever else or on their own pack page. So if you've done it as Kev just said then, you could also get badges within it. So you pay for your badge with MFL, they go up and up and up. And a good utility thing as well could be that I know they've got the delegating of clubs coming out. So if I turn around to that coach and I say, right, I want you to play this specific way, well then that could notify the manager that I've sent it to that I want this specific player training, instead of me having to go and remind him everything. I'm like, oh, come on, David, I need that player playing, like, come on, what you doing, kind of thing. It's just a subtle hint of, remember we did say we'd give this guy, you know, so many games and stuff like that. It's just a subtle way I think they could hint at things like that, or take a manager. Like, I know we've got the assistant manager at the moment that takes you through when you first buy a club, but I don't think I've seen that guy since the first day when I just went skip. Like, I think if you had like a familiar face there that went, oh, hold on a minute, you're doing this wrong, like, I think that could help a lot as well.
Yeah, I just noticed actually, but it probably should have noticed before that, but we're actually on the MFL site. They've put a link up to us. So thanks to Yax or Lucas or Matt, to whoever put that up. But yeah, we appreciate it. We're trying to grow the channel, and we'll be doing like more and more MFL content over the course of the year. We've nearly been going for a year. As I said, we've got Matt coming on sort of hopefully middle of November. I need to send the data across to him. But yeah, really sort of, you know, it's been sort of like an incredible ride over the course of the year. But right, let's talk about
Ron John joining us as well.
Yeah, we've got a few people in the chat. Yax. Thank you very much, Yax. Much appreciated. We've got Charles in the chat as well.
Yep.
We need to have Valhalla for retired players. No need for you to. There's a rich collection of records. Yeah, no, I'd like to see sort of like the records as well and stuff like that. Like when players retire, like, you know, I've had a goalkeeper retire so far, but, you know, in like some point early next year in real life, you know, a few of my best players will have retired, and I'd love to sort of like immortalize their records within the agency and stuff like that. But loads of sort of stuff like that. And no, you know, it's brilliant on that sort of front as well. But
Johnny's got some good ideas as well. So yeah.
What about like progression for the season then? So far, let's have a look. Quick look. We're on your page, MiniMe. We'll have a quick look. Current season. How are we looking? Oh, you've got a couple of +2s. That's not too bad. How are we not even a week into the season? Oh, just about a week into the season now, aren't we?
Yeah, I always find like my progression, like looking at it, I always get decent progression. I feel like it does go up quite well, but like half the time I kind of look at it and go, right, I need this player to go up. So like I said, I've got like a few favourite players, Geekard being one of them, French left mid that plays Cam. Yeah, I think he's +2 in Cam for me. And I'm like looking every morning. I was like, has he gone up? No, he's not gone up. What's going on here? Like,
was that the player? I looked at a player earlier that had got massive progression for you, but then nothing, like he flatlined. Oh no, that was this guy, Medjihad.
Yeah, so I had him in. So I put him in for a season, and I was like, "What the hell?" I think he went up like +5. I was like, "Right, I'll put you in for another 3 or whatever it was to complete the 4-season cycle kind of thing." And he just teased me, like he went up. And then around Paris, I remember showing Jimbo and Calva. And Calva was like, "Oh yeah, that's really nice." So I got the Calva curse. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's really nice." He should break.
Cursed by Calva, have you? Okay.
Yeah. So he was like, "You should break that tier," and he'll just keep on going, and then like dead. He's just done nothing. Like I've got him in a team now, and I try and play him as much as I can to see what'll happen. But yeah, he's just
they're the worst, aren't they? Like these sort of 24 and flatline cards. But
yeah, well,
because he's like at 23, the earliest you can have it is 24 for like your prime age. So you know he's not finished yet, but he's taken a hell of a long time to move up for you. But maybe when he does, he'll start to smash again.
Well, what makes it worse is I think he's actually like a 63 centre back going off the other.
Oh yeah.
I forget what it is. He's if you took his position off him, he'd be a 63 centre back or something like that. So
I mean, he's got decent stats for a centre back. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, kind of like, I put, when you request something to be added into the game, and I was like, right, before I go to Paris, I'm going to request this, and then I'll ask about it when I'm there. I'm like, come on, will you change position in Dev Center? If I pay like 10,000 MFL, will you just do it for me? And they were like, yeah, that's not coming. They were like, no chance. Like, we're not changing the positions. I was like, come on.
I think there's a lot of people that want position retraining, isn't there? But
yeah, it would.
What about you, Kev? How's your progression gone this season, mate?
Not great. But we're not even at the midway point yet. So I like to see how it balances over the season.
It's nice that Fox has kept going. Helmet Fox, probably one of my favourite names in the whole game.
That's my three best ones. So my big German helmet. He's went up to 86, and I've got 2 new Legos as well. So Wickman and my right back just went Lego the past few days. So really happy about that.
Nice.
But yeah, volume-wise, not great. About 28 players out of 150. But
that's not bad, though, is it? I mean, as you said, we're only a week into the season.
Exactly. It's quite early to think about it. So yeah, come the end of the seasons when I like to analyze it, and I'm sure it'll be good volume by then.
I did have a look this morning. I know a lot of my top guys, a few of them are like starting to get close to going up again, like Peroni and stuff like that, which I'd love to see progress. But
yeah, I like is it MFL Leaks, the plugin where it shows you how close they are to going up. That's
it always like teases you, doesn't it? When you know when they're like full green bar and they haven't got any stats, and then suddenly they start getting a couple of stats. So I've got a guy that I've showed a couple of times now, but I'll show him again. Bit of a progression beast, like been going up, and he went up to 84 last day of last season. And I'm just waiting for the stats to start going, but literally nothing yet. So please, Yaks, can you just engage him in training, please? Just tell him, like, this is the day. But yeah, this season, I think actually I've got my first +3 already. Let me look. Oh no, +4. Yeah, this guy, like, I think, when did I get him? I think he must have been like a pack. I can't imagine I bought him. Yeah. So 200, probably start of last season, 231,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so last season he went up to +2 in the dev jail, and this season he's gone up +4 already. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'll be keeping an eye on him. 27 years old, so like, when he gets out of dev jail, I basically, any card I get, like if it's like 26, 27, I just stick them in dev jail. It's like if they know, it's like there's no point. We've seen. I can't remember whose card it was now. Was it Big Wilbert Training Places? Someone like that. Have that card that they put in, and he came out as like a 30-year-old Quan, isn't it? And he's and he's now not legendary. What do you call it? Ultimate card. Yeah. So yeah, like progression's ticking along. It's nice. I can't complain. Like I'm not getting it on some of the cards that I want, but then like these ones really, because they're the ones that will help my team. And more importantly, I'm so sorry, Sid. I know you're in the chat. I'm going to have a quick look at Monkey Magic.
Colin.
Colin I bought off him, and he's been a superstar for me. But Sid was kind enough to loan me a keeper this season after my decent keeper retired last season. A keeper who has been like mincing through levels, like went up to legendary end of last day of last season, I'm pretty sure it was, and then nothing so far this season. I've just been trying to look. Like he did take a weekend sometimes to sort of like get going, so I'm just praying he's not a 24 and done, like 24 flat line. But I don't know.
Beautiful,
it's glorious, isn't it? So I'm just praying that he keeps going. But I
also love the amount of Legos you've got now, David. You're flying.
Yeah, no, I've got a few. A few of these are loaned in, but yeah, I've got a couple in one of my other teams as well. This guy I had last season, and he was an absolute beast for me last season. 95 pace, 85 shooting. Like he literally ticked all the stats. And originally, like Apollo Sports Group. That's not Ron John, is it? That's
Stuff.
Duff. Yeah, Duff said he wanted him back for this season as his like final season, and he said didn't really need him. So I said I'd take him. I know he's not going to be able to play loads of games. Though his physical isn't too bad. So I've managed to squeeze a few out now, but he's just a brilliant option to have in to rotate amongst the other guys. Yeah, so he's been good. But yeah, no, I've slowly been getting sort of more and like, picking up 84s, which are sort of like, praying that they click through. But, when you're in sort of silver now, you do need a decent amount of legendaries to sort of do pretty well. But
for sure.
But yeah, let's talk about how we're doing, and then we'll get on to talking about tactics.
Yeah.
Who wants to kick it off? Kev, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll just fly through mine. So season started really well. So in Spark, we are second in the league and we're second in the cup. We've only lost one game in each, so it's going well.
Dutch Degen Academy, love the logo.
Yeah, the Dutch Degens, and then the Aberdeen Degens, they're flying. They're top of the league and top of the cup. So that's a super strong squad that I've got there. So there's certainly no tactical masterclasses going on there.
And you sold the Dandies, didn't you, last?
Sold the Dandies. Funnily enough, they just got absolutely smashed by Sid last night, 9-0, because I think the guys just put in a wee farm squad just to relegate them. So, yeah, the Dandies are getting smashed, which absolutely breaks my heart. But yeah, so Aberdeen Degens are nice. They're flying. Next team is Daniel's team, Casco Viejo. They're doing well in Stone. I think we're sat fourth and second in the cup. So that's going well. Kind of par for the course. I think we're projected top 3 there. So that's a really strong league. I've got a strong squad there, and it's a bloody strong league. The Ramble doing all right. We're in with MiniMe, so MiniMe can speak a bit more about that later on, but he's absolutely flying. We've only lost one game with the Ramble in the league, and we've got a game in hand. So if we win that, I think we'll be 2 points behind MiniMe. So that's not too bad.
I don't know about you, but I've got 3 teams in iron this season, and what I found is I know power creep will keep going until we start to get serious retirements, which I imagine will be in the sort of another couple of seasons. But I found it quite like a lot tougher this season. Yeah, like 84, but there's some decent teams in there.
There is. There's
like,
a big
used to get promoted with just rares. Now they need to be high rares to get promoted out of it.
I think what's went towards that power creep as well. Well, certainly for me, was selling the Dandies. So I had this silver team that I sold, and all these players I could just cascade down through my teams. So I naturally strengthened every single one of my lower down teams. But I think just the pricing as well. The player prices were so competitive. It was easy to just look at MiniMe buying an 84 rated right winger for $65.
Yeah, I picked up some bargains in the off season, like
exactly
decent players who weren't actually even that old for. It's brilliant. So hopefully, we look back on those decisions as buying when people were sort of moving out the game was a smart thing to do. I think it probably was, because it does look like for us it's slowly starting to creep up. But that's good with the Ramble anyway. They're in the mix.
Ramble do well.
In the cup as well, and then got hammered first day and then win second day.
Yeah, so we got smashed in the first game. That was funny, just purely because I was experimenting with different tactics. Yeah, I won't do that again. I'll definitely be more careful with that going forward. But yeah, Ramble doing okay in the league. We won our second game in the cup, so flying there. I think we'll be okay. Then the Cana Degens in bronze, they're struggling in the league actually, but we just went up to mid-table, so we're doing okay. We're projected 7th there though, so I'm not kind of expecting too much. Hoping for a cup run, and we're joint second. We're in with Hooters in the cup, and we drew yesterday our cup game.
Oh, you are? Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah. So we'll play again in the cup. I'm hoping we'll both go through.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure we'll catch the guy that's top. I play the top guy next, so if I can beat him, there's a chance we both go through. So that'd be lovely to do that. Yeah. And then Retro Degens, the main men, they're struggling in silver. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. But it's an incredibly hard league we've got there. We're projected 9th again, so I'm not expecting miracles there. But we are flying in the cup. We're 2 for 2 wins in the cup so far. So yeah, really good overall. Can't complain. Tactics are working. Formation changes are working. Yeah, happy.
Nice.
Happy.
What about you, Shane?
So as I said, I have 6 teams over 2 accounts, not my account obviously, but so the ones that my uncle's got at the moment are doing like mid-table, which is fine. You know, I've just kind of let him roll with it this first season, see whereabouts we are with tactics and stuff like that. Obviously, Kev's a massive help with tactics. So before the season, I showed him my tactics, and then like a day later, we were in the same league. I was like, God's sake, what have I done? Like, I am an idiot. And that was like with my main team that's obviously sat first. And then Kev was saying about the wingers, so I went out, bought some wingers. Like I said, currently sat first with my main iron team. And then with my other two teams that I have, like I said, I've got 6 split over me and my uncle. With my other teams, I think I'm second in Stone, is it? Ice or Stone? And I'm like 4th in Spark. But I was speaking to Ron John, like I said, over Discord and stuff with the multi-club ownership, and my hopes is to get every single team into minimum ice and above, because I feel like the MFL output is like really starts from ice. I don't think it's good enough in Spark. Sorry.
Funny enough, one of the teams I've got in ice this season, I'm trying to get relegated because I need a team. Like, I've got 7 teams, and I need one of the teams where I can put players that come out of the academy and aren't really good enough to do anything. You know, so I've sort of, victim of my own success with some of the lower teams.
I think after season 12, I'd like to see like this power creep obviously go, like with the coming in of like retirements. A lot of the better players should go. So I think Ron John said he was looking around 11-12 season. I would like it very much set. Like I think we had a rating setting recently. Ratings reset on like the minimum that could go into certain leagues and stuff, or the maximum or whatever it was. But I think it was 2 free Flint teams last year. I was coming up like full uncommon teams. I'm like, right, this should be where I just chuck the $1 guys, just like let them sit. That's the only thing I would look at, like the bottom league when there's no actual need for the MFL. Maybe look at pushing those up, because I've had no relegations now from Spark for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think that's down to the size of Flint, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, this season it has grown a bit, but it's grown, primarily through a lot of trial clubs. So, I think hopefully a lot of the people that come in enjoy the game and want to start out, and then, Flint will get bigger. But yeah, that will take time. But I don't really want to go back down to Flint, but I'd love to get one of my teams in Spark, and hopefully the Matadors will be that team. But so what about like your 3 main teams, the 3 ones that you manage? So Fortuna, Lustenau.
Yeah, I need to. So
Santiago
I do like
City, and you're from Manchester City.
So Manchester's always got to be my main team, no matter what.
What about the first one then, Fortuna?
So Fortuna, like I said, that's currently sat, I believe.
6th.
Yes, 5th it is, I think. 5th, 6th, and then like 2nd in the cup. I've not actually lost a game in the cup yet, but that's just more like for my high end limited. That's just my tactics. I try to vary every tactic from every team to see what's really working, what's really not working, and also it depends on what I have in my agency at the time. I try to cram like all my best players into one team, which I've done with the Manchester City team, to try and get one team as high up the pyramid as I possibly can.
I love seeing the kits on there. I've just gone into one of your teams and like just seeing the kits in there, just like, I don't know, just add something.
Yeah,
even they've given a bit of depth to the kits as well. So I don't know, everything just looks really cool. But yeah.
Well, that's another thing I can't wait for, because again, I think going back on the topic before of where I started with Football Manager, I remember the old Championship Manager. Remember when you could build your own stadium and do your own sponsors, and it'd actually like change a little bit. So just these little things, it's just like I need them. Not so much like building a stadium. I'm pretty sure that's too much work for the guys at the moment of where we're at. But yeah, like with the teams, like I said, I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah, no,
ideally,
you've done okay.
I,
What
I,
about Santiago City then? Like, they're second at the moment. Is that a team you want to get promoted?
yeah. So currently, I have 3 spark, including all the teams, 1 ice, 1 stone, and iron. So ideally, I'd like 2 stone for the players that I've got, and then the rest in ice. Like I said, for the players that I've got, I feel like they should be in there. But they were my actual first team, so I sold them. Like I said, I'd done a deal with Snake, and I sold them off because they were in iron at the time. And I was like well out my depth, so I was like, right, I'm not good enough at the game yet. I need to really learn how to play the game. So I'd done a deal with them with Snake, sold them for like $100, I think it was. Bought them back in the mid-season for 65. So I was like, oh, I've done God's work. Like I got my team back. So yeah, they're hopefully gonna go up. I'm hoping that they'll go up. I always seem to get quite unlucky though, second half of the season. So I'll see.
Yeah,
see
people
what
always
it's
speak
like.
about that, don't they? That like, the season is 2 halves, and often if you do one you do one in the first half, do well in the first half, you don't do well in the second half, and vice versa.
Oh, I was unbeaten last season, I believe, with Manchester City. I was unbeaten up until the mid-season way, and then bottom of the league beat me. Next game back, I was like, "Are you joking?" I was like unbeaten in the cup. I was unbeaten in the league. This guy that's like literally had Commons playing. This Common scores a hat trick, and I'm just sat here like, honestly, I've never shook a screen so much in my life. I was like, no way. I was gutted. But I just think they go for a few too many beers on the in the mid-season break, and sometimes it just doesn't work out well.
So what's the plan for City then? So did they get relegated last season, or did they get promoted?
Promoted. So in the league, in our league currently, we've got Real Pork United. So me and him went to the last day. I think he drew and I won. We're literally like pretty much the same goals and everything. So it was quite weird that he came into our league. I think I said to Kev, I was like, I was with this guy last season. I was like, what the hell's going on? And I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
no,
they stay in the same sort of funnel, don't they, when you get promoted? So
yeah. So yeah, luckily I got like the automatic promotion. With them, I think the highest I really want to go is like bronze. I think bronze with my capabilities, like I said, I want to heavily invest, but I want to diversify it over every team. I'd rather every team be strong than just one super strong team and loads of mediocre teams.
bronze has got so tough now. Like, to do well in bronze, he sort of needs sort of like high 80s players, and sort of, even then I've got teams that sort of like bounce between iron and bronze just because it's tough.
Yeah, well,
this season in bronze, I've got loads of 82s and 83s, and I'm projected 7th and nowhere near the strength that I should be to do well.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Yeah, well, like I said, to be honest, I take it season by season. If I do, like, I was predicted 7th, 8th this season. Obviously, I've come out the traps kind of running. I don't think I had my wingers before that, but like I said, Kev's a massive help for that, because like we were talking, and I was like, look, these are my tactics, and he was like, have you played wingers? And I was like, no, I haven't. I was like, I don't even think I have wingers in my agency. I was like, I've got a striker that can play right wing, and like he just wouldn't have been good enough, kind of thing. So I was like, right, I'll go out and get these 2 wingers, and like I said, just I'm not told Kev my tactics because I don't want him to beat me with a ramble. So I was like, I need to conserve this, because I'm a big teller. I'll go out and tell everyone. I'm like, oh, look at what I'm playing. Look at how well I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like I need that like kind of well done kind of thing. But I was like, I'm just gonna.
Bobby Zamora, the guy you got in.
Yeah, so I got in for $65.
Nice.
And I think I got the left winger for, I can't remember exactly how much, but I think he was left mid and could play positionally upwards. But like I said, with that, I've always kind of played it with a slim squad. But at the back end of last season, like I said, me and Real Pork or whatever it's called, we were really close, but I had a slim squad and I was running out of like players getting yellow card suspensions and stuff like that when it really mattered. I think I went quite far in the cup as well, so I was like, right, I'm not switching out properly. And like I said, I got really lucky on the last day kind of thing, because I was literally like playing a half-dead squad of my own against a pretty all-right-ish squad. So I was like, oh, I'm going to lose it. And then playoffs have never really been nice to me. I think I've gone through playoffs once, but been in them like 5 times.
Yeah, playoffs are not my... I just never do well in them. Probably forget about them half the time because the season's over and there's like a few days gap and my mind wanders. So, yeah. But anyway, you're doing well this season, and that's a pretty good start to the season. Can't complain. Yeah, we'll quickly go through my teams, then we'll talk tactics. And when I say talk tactics, we're not going to be talking about what tactics we're using. We can't give that away, but we'll be talking about how we get to those tactics.
MiniMe will, because I need to know.
I don't use tactics. What are you talking about? What tactics?
So if we go through my teams, I'll start at the bottom, which is the Matadors, aiming to get them relegated. 10th at the moment. If I can finish 10th, that would be perfect. Like second, the highest paying relegation zone, that would be perfect. Ideally, I'd like to have a bit of a cup run, but this team, I'm not too fussed about it. And I had a win yesterday. I did have a bit of a change of tactics the last couple of days. So that is one of the, although I haven't done it for this team because I do want this team to get relegated. The Vikings ticking along. Did have a loss yesterday when I had to rotate the team in the league, but a couple of wins in the cup to kick off the season. That is nice. I think I'd like to get them up to stone, or maybe second and a bit of a playoff fun and then a decent cup run. They won the cup last season. Winning start to the cup again this season, so can't complain there. That is the squad that has a couple of my goats on that like progress in certain positions, like good old Vito Coppola. And in fact, looking through the squad, it's got a few of the guys that I bought in my first few days or packed in my first few days. Coppola is one I had since season 1. Pantic is another I've had since season 1. Vink I got fairly early on. Danielson was the first rare card I bought. He was a 75 in season 1. See, he's probably one of the cards that hasn't progressed particularly well. He's only 76 now, but at least he hasn't got the retirement icon yet. Oh, Cole was one of the first cards I bought as well. It's a bit of a reminisce team and stuff like that. But yeah, they are my cup team every season. The Kings have not been doing very well. We started off poorly. We've had a win and a loss in the cup. I did put a decent team together because I was in with Josh's Carmarthen crew and also the Patron Saints. So I thought it'd be a fun league, but none of us are doing particularly well. And the team that came up with me last season, Carmel Roundabouts, is leading the way at the moment. I have changed the tactics with them. I thought I'd changed it for last night, or maybe I did change it for last night. So the new tactics came in there. So it's been a pretty sort of grim start to the season for the Kings. First night, I think I had no tactics on any of my teams. Second night, I put the old tactics on them that I thought might work because from last season, they did not work. They do work in certain circumstances, but they didn't work particularly well there. The Vikings, they are my worst iron team. So hoping for mid-table and a cup run. Cup has not started well, so that may be off the cards. But as long as they stay in iron, I will be happy. They're sort of my perennial mid-table iron side. Monkey Fire, one of my stronger iron teams. They are currently top, and this is the league that we are in with Black Mamba. Black Mamba is Bruce, yeah. I always get confused between Bruce and Root. Apart from, obviously, I can tell when I hear them on the show, but I always get... but yeah, Bruce, and I know he spoke about it last week, but yeah, it's definitely a team that I'm following this season and want to do well with. And since I switched to the new tactics, I can't remember, I think it was before with this team, because some of the teams, it was mucked up, wasn't it, yesterday, and I could change the tactics, but the matches didn't go ahead, and then I couldn't change. So I think I changed the tactics to this one before Evo Prestige, before playing NEP in the Cup yesterday. So had a win and a loss in the Cup, but hopefully with these new tactics, I can do slightly better. And a nice win last night as well, so I can't complain about that. So, Bruce, where are you? Scrolling down. Oh, there you are. You're in 6th at the moment. Yeah, doing okay. I'm at the top here. You need to come and join me. Funky Monkey are my sort of perennial up and down team, although they started the season really poorly. I think we started with 2 losses. Yeah.
I definitely back Bruce to do well. I think he'll be up at the top of you come the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I suspect he will. Hopefully it'll be fun. Like last season was fun with just, although it wasn't a team I was particularly interested in, by the end I was hoping that I did go up because, you know, it's just fun, isn't it, when you sort of competing against people that you sort of know from the community. Funky Monkey, as I said, they're the team that sort of seem to go up and down all the time. Got Pittsburgh MFSC in here. They beat me first day of the season when I didn't have any tactics set, which was a little bit annoying. But, you know, since I changed the tactics here, we've had 2 wins as well. So beat Newcastle in the Cup and then won in the league as well. So they've got a pretty strong team for Iron. Like, this is what I'm talking about.
Love that logo, David, as well. Funky Monkey.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about sort of like redoing the logos for all of my teams because they sort of look a little bit disjointed, but I like, you know, ideally keeping the same sort of theme, but I'd like to add a bit of depth to them or something. I don't know yet, but I'll have to have a look because I believe it said in the announcement earlier that they'll be charging from next season.
10.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'll be something I need to think about this season, but I do like the logos. I like the logos on quite a lot of my teams actually now, but
yeah.
And final team, the Magic, also had a shitty start to the season. So 2 losses to start the season. This was the day I had no tactics set. This was the day I went to the old tactics. Got absolutely slapped by Ronan's bottom feeders. I tweaked tactics there and had a bit of it. And it's only in the last couple of days. Actually, this one I could change them before. So I've had 3 games on the new tactics there. 3-0, 2-0, 8-0. So, nice. Yeah, pretty happy with that. I suspect it will be sort of a boom or bust season, but we'll talk about that in tactics in a sec. But, and I guess that is now. Before we move on and start talking about tactics, though, we're trying to grow this channel. We really want to get it up to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Please click like, click subscribe, and we will forever thank you. And Kev will give you tactics advice. All you need to do is everybody. Every of those 1,000 subscribers that plays MFL, DM Kev, he will help you.
Work for me, to be fair.
Thank you, sir. No, well, happy to help anyone. Yeah.
So let's talk about tactics then. What sort of fired this, or what made you think about having, like, we talk about tactics a lot anyway, but this particular like topic was, I sort of, like, Kev and I have both been fairly similar, that we run friendlies and, you know, we both sort of like have different tactics, you know, and like you can see from like the formation meta on, you know, on the site that different formations do work or are slightly more successful against other formations. I have got so many of my teams play 4-3-3, either attacking or defensive. And that's just down to the fact that I bought loads of wingers at the start, then packed loads of wingers, and I wasn't about to use those within my teams. So, like, setting those, like, different teams up at the start of the season, second day of the season, I should say, you know, you look at sort of how I set them up, and I tried to set them up the same as last season. And then I like had a play around. Obviously, we had Goal Rush where people were testing stuff, you know, and it's quite interesting sort of going through that. And I think last season was the first season where I sort of slightly pivoted in how I look at tactics. Rather than looking at it as what beats what, I go down a slightly different route. But let's talk about, Kev. What do you do? Start of the season, you're building your clubs. Let's get like one of the tactics up, so we can have a look.
Yeah, maybe get one of my teams up and we'll have a look. But yeah, I'll just, so we've obviously had a really good chat about this, David, and we're both having success with our own approaches, which is really good. But I'll always be a formation versus formation guy. So, you know, I'll do loads of testing, find out, first of all, if there's a meta formation, and I'll obviously try and use that if I can. but mainly just, you know, the formations that I can use my best players for as well. So yeah, just usually a formation versus formation setup for me.
So what's your starting point? Let's talk about the starting point. So the new engine is announced, you know, maybe we'll run a few friendlies with it and stuff like that, just to muck around, the experimental engine, but we never really sort of get going until Yax or you know, Matt or whoever it is that does the post announces that the engine now is final. And that is like the checkered flag for us to go and actually sort of have a test around with it and a proper play with it.
So, well, usually I'll try and get last season's tactics to work, but a lot of the time, as you've got on your screen there, I will just start with default tactics as well. Certainly if it's a formation I've not previously used the past couple of seasons. So say it's like a 3-5-2B and I haven't used it since season 3. I will literally just start from default and just start testing. Find out how the player AI works, find out if risky passes work and all these things. And then just tweak and add to it and build it as I go, game by game. But yeah, I mean, I'll usually get sort of good signs within that first few games if the tactic's going to work and if the formation's good enough as well.
What about you, MiniMe? What like starting point for a season? Are you set it and forget it? Like you use the same tactics as last season and tweak them until they work, or do you start with a blank canvas?
So I'm very much in Palmer's view of I will not run friendlies. Don't see the point.
Right.
90% of the time I run friendlies. Like I was running friendlies and it was putting me against stone teams. I was like, right, this is nowhere near the caliber I should be playing. I should be pushing myself to like play up higher.
But you can select the team you want to play.
You can, but it's when I'm working so much, I don't really want to be going digging, going, oh, Kev, can you make a team like this for me, please? Like, it's just a lot of work, I find.
Yeah. I mean, I did
that. Yeah. So I've always played football. I've always liked football, like I said. I've always like from like one of the biggest council estates in Europe. You love football, you know what I mean? Like football's do or die. Went to school with like Marcus Rashford and stuff like that. Always been around football, like good football brains and stuff. So like I always just set up how I want to play, kind of thing. It's only really like last season I was playing against Work the Space, and he was playing the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. So I was like, I can play that. I'll give that a go. And it just kind of switched the whole. But I played it in my way. Obviously, he was playing it a certain way, and when I got him in the cup, and when we met in the cup, I ended up knocking him out in the cup. So I was like,
that must have been quite satisfying.
I've watched a lot of his content. I obviously met him in Paris and stuff, so it was like kind of like, ha, like I win kind of thing, like, you know what I mean? But it was, I think he battered me like 4-1 in the first game. So again, it's satisfying knowing that when you switched it, but you put your own mind to it, it's worked out. I really enjoyed like the 3 at the back. 3-5-2-B. I've always enjoyed that. Like I just like gung ho kind of football. Like very much. I think was it Stuart Pearce at City or someone like that said like you can score 5 goals, but we'll score 6. Like that's how I enjoy to watch football, kind of thing. So this season I took it like I watched like the Ramble like a lot, and you know the other pods, and I was like, right, people are really talking about tactics. I was like, and I think when you're going into Stone and places like that, I don't think as much it's down to your tactics. I think it's just like I had decent players and I played my way and I kind of probably got lucky and scraped through. I think now you're getting into Iron, and like from Iron, I'd say, and that's not like being disrespectful to any of the people from like Stone and stuff, but I think it kind of gets serious then. The MFL that you get from it is a lot more than, and like especially the cups and stuff. Like I never used to bother with cups. Like I weren't bothered. I just want like a good league performance, get me up there kind of thing. Whereas like I just thought, right, I'll message Kev, see what like Kev's thinking. I was running a few tactics with the tactics around, like, see, a few friendlies, because I was like, I'll give that a try, kind of thing. Sometimes I have to get up at like 4 a.m. to walk to work, so I'll stick a podcast on, walk to work, sit there on MFL, mess about, kind of thing. Kind of just passes the time for like the hour walk there. And I was like running these friendlies. I was like, oh, this is working well and stuff like that. And then Kev was like I said, have you not tried wingers? I was like, not really, mate. Like, I'm not really a winger kind of person. If there's one position in football that I hate, it's wingers. Because it's like I can appreciate old wingers. Like, you give me like a prime Sterling from Manchester City where he used to tuck in, bang, it was a goal, or Mahrez tuck in, bang, it was got Messi, you know, like, give me a natural winger like that. Yeah, that's fine. But like, I don't know, like, I think Pep Guardiola ruined wingers for me, because when he brought in Jack Grealish and just like played this, get all the way up the line, pass it back, and like, you see it now in the Premier League, they get all the way up there and you're like, come on, do something, and they just go, oh, goalkeeper, are you on for a pass? I'm like, I'll pass it back. Like, it just ruined like wingers for me. So like, I tried it. I put my own.
To say that though, because I think that a lot of people, when they start playing the game, look at tactics, think, well, this is what I like to see, so this is the way I'm going to play, rather than thinking what's best in this engine or what's best in this game to win.
Yeah, well, like I said, once I contacted Kevin, I was like, wingers. I'd already had like a few formations. I'd already had like a wide formation, a 3 at the back formation that I could play. Like, I kind of got in the Sid kind of moment of I could just spin a wheel and just decide on the day kind of thing. But with my brain and the way I function, I'm like, no, I need it regimented. I need to know what I'm going to play against what kind of thing. Whereas like previously, I'm not really been bothered. I was like, but I feel like I said, in Iron, you kind of get in. Last time I was in Iron, I think I got battered. Like, I was like, right, I'm not having this happen again. I'm not going into Iron, being bottom of the table and just staying there forever. I'm going to give it a real go. So, like I said, tactically, I think individual instructions are really important.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But
so, not to give too much away, but my centre mids in that 3, they are very contrasting to what I allow them to do. And the CDM is very contrasted from game to game. So sometimes now, like, I'll sit there and I'll watch Kev's game from last night. And I'm like, right, I know that striker's good because he's just scored 3. I need to stop him. Whereas, like, if I look at a team and I go, the striker's not really that good, I can just kind of let him do whatever he wants. Sometimes it bites you. Like, I've been bitten. Like I said before coming on, I got bit. I lost 1 game. And that was just pure me being lazy and going, oh, it's the cup. I needed to rotate when I really didn't need to rotate. It was a cup game next day. And I was just jumping the gun on rotation, like kind of crapping it, thinking I can't lose out in, so sometimes it just depends how my mind's working that day. Like, it just takes me sometimes, like, especially like pre-season, like I said, I will not do any until, like you just said then, until like the final thing of, yep, this is your engine, go and play. Like, every now and again.
That's really interesting. So you won't do any friendlies in pre-season testing, but you will tweak it to the opposition and make changes. So that's a different way to do it as well.
Yeah, so like I just look at, like, I know a lot of people, I think Jimbo said it, he won't watch it on 2D.
Yeah.
But I will watch it on 2D just for the simple fact of I can, like, for example, I've not watched any of your games as of yet, Kev. I've just kind of skimmed through them. It's only when I've got like serious time, like I said, with 2 kids, I do a lot of it at night. I'll just sit here and I'll be like, right, I've noticed Kev will play a high line. So now, for example, my right winger will be on go, kind of like, let's get at it kind of thing. I've noticed as well, it's very prevalent of that pass straight in. And it's just a little tap in. So obviously I've been using that as much as I can. But like, if you go to my game last night, like I said, I've got kind of strengths all over the place. I don't think sometimes the overalls do some cards justice. I have Rodney Goddard in centre mid, and he was just all over the place last night. He got a hat trick from centre mid, and I was like, there you go. Like just tactically, that's worked and it's gone to my favour, kind of thing.
It's quite interesting doing that. I mean, like one of the things that I thought about in the past, and actually Johnny TH has just brought it up in the chat, said if intelligence, if there was an intelligence stat, it would dictate how well players received instructions. Might be quite interesting down the line if they ever expanded the stats, like how well players actually cope with the instructions that you give them. But
have you seen in the chat, Hoodwink's finally passed his theory test?
yeah, no, we saw that yesterday. Yeah, or the day before. But yeah, finally.
He told us yesterday, but yeah, well done, Hooders. Brilliant. On to the main driving test now.
Yeah, I wonder how many tests it will take. Get a few booked up. I'll talk about like how I sort of land on tactics. The start of last season, I thought, okay, I'm going to sort of scrap the way I normally do it and just ask myself. Well, actually, it wasn't at the start of last season. It was about like towards the mid-season break last season. Things weren't going well. I thought, okay, rather than sort of trying to work different formations for different tactic or different formations and trying to sort of like, you know, eyeball what opponents are doing to try and sort of counter that in matches, which I still do, but that was one of the main ways I was doing it before. Now I look at it with a blank canvas and think, this is a new engine. How are goals scored within this engine? And can those goals be stopped? Last season, we go through. So I ran the 4-3-3 last season, standard 4-3-3. Rather than, I was trying to work out ways. I ran so many friendlies trying to work out ways to stop those through balls last season. People were saying you couldn't stop them. I found a way. So direct, slightly wide, and what Hoodwink found hilarious was just depth.
Yeah, the depth.
Slightly compact, balanced, trigger press, more defensive. Those were my tactics for the second half of last season and all my teams. They look absolutely ridiculous. Like if you had a team, your team was playing this way, you would be absolutely fuming. But not only did it stop those through balls, I think I conceded maybe 2 or 3 for the whole of the second half of last season, but it also, like, you scored shitloads as well. Now, I noticed during the season that there were a couple of games where I did lose, and even then, it became quite obvious what worked against it, and what worked against it was having a team that was controlled and sat back, and that for some reason, whatever reason within the engine, that worked. So having controlled against that last season worked. Now I tried these tactics this season because Kev said that he thought they worked. I ran a couple of friendlies, and to be fair, I thought they worked as well. But
they did for a little while. But
I thought they were going to work, but they did not. They just, you do get some wins still, but they're just completely inconsistent. I think part of the problem is the through balls, aren't quite as prevalent this season. Like this engine has worked out a way to stop them by using the physicality of defenders to stop players, going through and finding those through balls, and that's a good thing. Now this season is slightly different. This season, pretty much all the goals that are scored, well, not all of the goals, but I would say 75% of goals that are scored are those sort of scrappy, sort of sideways passes in the box. Someone gets in there, knocks it across the goal, someone knocks it in. And I tried endlessly to try and work out a way to stop those. And I just don't think it's possible. I tried spreading out my defense, thinking that it would stop the crosses coming in the first place. Didn't work. Then I tried going uber compact, taking the players back down, uber compact. So they can put the cross in all they like, but there's no space for the forwards. Then there's no way they're going to be able to do it. I tried playing high lines to try and tried playing low lines. I tried all kinds of stuff, and there was just no way to stop those goals. So then I thought, okay, there's got to be another way to sort of go about this. And so that's how I sort of started working on tactics last season and started looking at tactics this season. Because I think every season we've had, there's been very specific ways that goals are scored, whether it's from indirect free kicks, which I think is slightly better this season, but not loads better. With the season where direct free kicks was the way that loads of goals are scored, and then having wingers or players dribbling lots to try and win fouls was a good way to go. You know, I
And
think,
what's cool is what you said to me, David, that you'll obviously persevere and make sure that 4-3-3 works no matter what each season.
yeah,
Whereas I'll
fundamentally, that's it. I've got a tactic and I want to see how well it works.
Yeah. So it's just good that all three of us here have got so many different perspectives and styles and how we do it and how we set it up. And all three of us are doing well. So just shows you there's no one way to play the game.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that, you know, we've got people in the chat here. So, like Ricky said, that's the team depth of my 5 at the back. So, park the bus. I just don't think like the that sort of depth is quite as successful this season. And I've gone a different way, which obviously I'm not going to announce how I've gone this season. And it's like, you know, I'll tell you, I'll give you a guess. It's somewhere in between there and there, somewhere between low and high. But yeah, I guess my tactics this season are completely different, and you know it's early days, but it's been relatively successful the last couple of nights. But then, you know, I think MiniMe, you said it, and a lot of people say it. You know that the second half of the season often is quite different. Now we know the engine in theory doesn't change, but you know my opinion is that. People just get smarter. People just work out ways to counter stuff that's happening. And therefore, what's working for you at the start of the season may not work for you halfway through the season.
Or forget that, put your tinfoil hat on and say it does change halfway through.
I was just about to say I'm more of a tinfoil hat kind of. I think, like with any game, as soon as you put a patch over it, it's like, yeah, it's that different. So, like, I know it's not official, but I honestly believe, like, sometimes when the new engine comes out, I'm like, you weren't doing like these last couple of games. Why are you now doing that? Like, I have to sometimes change just a little bit. Like, I found that I've defended that little cross or little pass in quite well, but it's because, like, a little tip to it is that I found is I've got very contrasting defenders, the essential centre backs. So that's what I found. Like, I found that because them. One's high pace, one's high defending, not so much pace. I found that they've really stopped that kind of from happening. Again,
have you noticed that much in terms of AI? So do they tuck in more? Do they drop back more? What are you seeing?
So I just noticed, like, obviously, you've seen the gung ho kind of style of what I play, but with the defense of pretty much let's just stay in a line and, you know, they shall not pass kind of. That's how I like my defense to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, come towards us and we will try and rip that ball straight off you. And I think the turnover in possession is the most important part in this game. If you can, if I can stop you from going from the halfway line to my 6-yard box quicker than you can stop me doing it, then I'm going to have more attacks on you. So I found, like, a lot of my possession has been quite high. Like, I remember messaging you after a game and I pumped someone and my possession was really high. And then when you watch that on 2D, it's because he's trying to start an attack, I'm winning and going. Yeah. And, you know, that's what I found. Like,
it's always been one of the best ways to score in MFL. Win the ball back, quick counter attack.
Just go and like I said, I think, and what I'm not going to allude to as much is that the massive thing that I put on is my wingers. They're on very specific instructions on both wingers because of their. I remember, like, early days MFL when I was playing, I'd just go, "Oh, he's 82 rated. He must be good." I weren't really looking at the stats. Whereas, like I said, when I'm bagging now and putting the money in, I'm only looking for players with very specific stats for how I want that person to play. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I got that lad off you on loan, and I was like, "Yep, he's got 85 shooting. He should do." Like, I think I've got another guy. Got 4 strikers in there, so 2 are really fast, agile. Just let them run around, and I've got 2 like pure goal scorers.
We've got Jimbo in the chat saying, it's easy. Just score more goals than your opponent.
That's exactly what I said. Like,
you need to follow your advice, Jimbo, because
it works, Jimbo. You're right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's are 8th.
Yeah, it's not going well, is it? But
Yeah.
no, to be fair, I like Jimbo's weight, and this is the proof that I think the second half of the season is just as important as your first half. I think how you finish should matter more than how you start, because like Jimbo last season, obviously completely turned it around.
Is that what you tell the missus?
Don't
Yeah,
bring
all the time. But I've done it myself. Like, I've had a terrible start to the season, and then I've gone on and won the league. Like,
Yeah.
just by looking at your opposition, I agree with the people get smart, because I've done it myself. I've kind of like looked, but then also the other thing I would say is, with them 3 additions to your clubs, if you get that right and get the player in that you really want, that could be massive as well for your mid-season. Like, if you've got a honking striker that doesn't want to score anything, and you bring someone in, like I've got a guy like Levaud, like 80 odd pace, 80 shooting. I brought him in a mid-season, and he went on and scored like 20 odd goals. I was like, yeah, cheers, mate. Like, exactly what I needed at that time.
Is he not a progression monster? I think you got him from Andy Official.
Yeah, so I remember buying him. But I can't remember exactly how much I bought him for.
I'm sure he's a monster, and you got him quite cheap, I think.
Yeah.
His old team, certainly Glasgow.
Yeah, so I remember telling Hudders about it, and I was like, "Yep, I got this guy in. He looks pretty good." So I got him in for 85 back, like a couple of months ago. But he just does the job for me every season, and I'm like I said, if you come into MFL with the mindset of, oh, this guy's only 77 rated, but I could buy this guy that's 84. Well, that 77 rated guy 9 times out of 10 outscores the 84 guy, just because of the stats that's on the card, not on the raw like overalls. Yeah. I think that's how a lot of people play it and don't like it or see an issue with it, is because they've gone, oh, well, I bought all these, like, I bought a Lego and he should be amazing. And I'm like, yeah, but my Vandy guy that's at centre back that's 75 rated with like 90 pace, obviously he's going to recover the ball a lot quicker from your 45 pace striker. Like, it's obvious. It's simple tactic. So
Johnny said something interesting in the chat, which I think they announced maybe a couple of seasons ago now, that it would start to have an impact, a small impact to start off with, and that was having a left-sided player on the left side and right-sided player on the right side. As you said, it can be quite tough trying to find sort of left-footed centre-backs and stuff like that. But I do try and do that now. Do you take much notice of that, or do you put it in there? I would imagine before, like, it becomes a bigger impact in the game, like, they will announce that. But it's definitely something that I look out for. Like, if I'm looking for a centre-back, I had loads of right-footed centre-backs. Like, I think virtually all of my centre-backs were right-footed a couple of seasons ago, and I slowly started buying more and more left-sided centre-backs.
Sorry, David, on you go.
No, so that was it. I was going to ramble on there.
No, I was just going to say, I always found there was a premium on left footers because I bought a couple for the D-Gens, but I went older and higher rated. But if you look at younger left footers, there's always a premium on them. Maybe not quite so much now that prices have dipped, but back in the boom, there was a massive premium on them. Just the same way as height for goalkeepers. A tall goalkeeper was a premium on him as well.
And do you, like, when you're setting up the D-Gens, do you set them up so that you have the left-sided players on there?
Yeah, very much so. I've actually got two left-footed centre-backs, two right-footed centre-backs. So
it actually irritates me a little bit. Like you here, I've got 2 CDMs on the Monkey Magic, and they're both right-footers. And when I set up a 2 CDM formation, which I do occasionally, one of my sort of alternate formation, rotation formations uses that. They're both right-footed, and it talked to me a little bit.
Well, there you go. There's Jeffrey Ford. He's left-footed. He's the best one. And then I've got Robson as well. So they're both left-footed centre-backs.
And I believe this is the guy that you packed mid-sea.
Not that CDM. No, I bought him.
No, not Carr. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay.
Carr. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I packed him. He's incredible. 84 centre back, 82
Who was
right
the other
back.
guy you packed? The superstar forward.
Yassine, so he's in the bronze team. He's in the Canada gens.
How's he been doing?
All right, not the best so far. He drew a blank against Hooters, so yeah, he's getting sacked.
if a play like if you have a striker and he doesn't score a couple of games in trot, do you just dump them and like give them time off?
Somebody, well, I'll rotate anyway, but he's by far my best striker in bronze. But I've also got a couple of guys on loan that I want to play because I've got them on loan with game clauses and things like that. So I've got one from Kodap I really want to play. I want him to get better for Kodap as well. So I'm trying to rotate and just play everyone.
You've not done what you did last season, have you? And get a player, but then not like play him from Kodap, and then he has to loan him to me mid-season.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had 4 strikers at Ramble, and I was constantly playing 4-3-3 with just a single striker, so it was impossible to give 4 strikers a game. But I loaned in your guy, and he never played once.
I didn't.
No, but he was retiring, so you didn't give a monkeys. But...
No, I didn't care. No, it was decent stats, but he's not worth playing. Only worth playing if you desperately needed him. But
the difference at the
guy that you had, which then Kodap loaned to me to replace the guy that I loaned to you, actually scored boatloads of goals that final half of the season and also progressed.
Do you ever look at that?
Happy as well.
Do you ever look at that when you're buying someone though? So like when I buy a striker. Apart from Cloud, I think that I've got off you, Kev, I always look at them in a sense of, again, tin hat kind of moment. I always look at them and see if they genuinely are doing the business. So, like Lavard, when I looked at him, like me and my uncle, like I said, we play this game all the time and like together, everything's together. So when we go out scouting out, I always find that like, these two sayings that I got taught. So 4 eyes are better than 2, which we were both together. We have 6, which is great. And I don't know if we're allowed to swear, but opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
Yeah.
It's just like, but I find that when I look, he always scouts really good players. And I'm like, right, how have you done that? Like, how have you, like I said, his budget, he'll be lucky if he puts like $50 on a month. Like, he just doesn't have the time to invest in stuff like this. But what I always find is he'll pick someone out. Like, I think he saw Lavard first and he was like, I'm going to buy him. So I was just like, check this, bang, I bought him. Because he was like, look at how much he scored. And I was like, wow, he has actually scored like quite a lot. Like he went out on like a mad one. And I don't know, like even like with midfielders and stuff, I always look and see how many assists they've got. And I
do that, yeah. Well, what I'll do is I'll identify the player I want through their stats. Then usually the next thing I'll look at is progression. Are they a good progressor? And then I'll delve deeper into their scoring history and stuff like that. But
exactly. I mean, I've got the marketplace up at the moment, and generally what I'll do, and I'll put the ceiling in of the price I want to pay.
Yeah.
Obviously that's come a bit lower. Say I'm looking for a striker. My max budget is $200. Obviously at the moment, I'll not make sure. Yeah. So it doesn't have anyone there. I put the max age that I want, 25. And then I'll go through, and generally I look at the stats first.
Well, you filter the stats. That's what I'll do.
I sometimes do that if it's a specific position, but I don't like narrowing it down too much to start off with.
Well, I was going to say I'll just do like a wider range, like say a minimum 6-day pace, for example.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like a centre back, just to condense it a wee bit, but not completely close it down.
But then I'll look at like progression. That is like the first thing. And you can have a look. Like this guy here, he's not been, a massive progressor, but he's been steady. Now, is that a 24 in flat line? That's the thing that is one of the biggest questions when I'm buying players. I look at, I thought, has he flatlined? And I've actually bought a few players like this season that, they've been 84 forever. And I just think they've got a little bit in them. They've got a little bit in the tank.
I've definitely done that in the past. I've bought a few flat lines and they haven't progressed. So
something I always look at, like, I probably play it a lot different to a lot of people. Like a lot of people are probably out here like looking for progression. I know McBride had like that monster of a right winger. that progress like loads. I think you said, David, that in the last video you wanted to try and get him on loan before he sold him, and I was like looking at him for quite a while. But I never look at progression just because, like I said, in my head, I want as much MFL as I can, and then from that pack, if I open the pack or sell the pack, I'll look at their progression. Then I like that. I want to look at my own kind of player's progression, and that's more for like the resale value. Like I'm not looking for an ROI on the game as much, but the more money I can funnel in to buy more clubs or more players. Like I always look for players. Like when I go on the market, I'll just go like rare upwards, whatever position, low to high, and I'll just go through everyone.
So will you narrow the stats down and kind of aim for like a more finished article then, if you don't care about progression?
Like I said, I just literally what I'll do is I'll just go rare. I'll put it very basic, because I think if you narrow the stats, you could chop someone out. Like I found that right winger. If I would have chopped him out, I'd have never had him. So I'd prefer to go like rare. And then if I'm looking for a centre mid, I'll just put centre mid. I won't do the only position because, like I said, again with the left mid, I put left wing and then realised he went +1 or +2 in left wing. So I was like, but that was literally from me going low to high. And then I think I found him for like $40 or whatever it was. I just comb through every single one. Like I said, me and my uncle will sit here like 2 nights a week and we'll just go through every single player and we'll be like, right, what do we actually need? I'll only purpose buy, so I won't just. I have done in the past where I've just gone, oh, that looks like a really good deal, but if it's like a right wing back, I'm never going to play 5 at the back. Like you'll never see a 5 at the back from me. It's too defensive. I don't like defensive. What is the point in sitting in my own box? You know what I mean? Like I'm very much like I know you support Liverpool, David, like a Jurgen Klopp. Remember how he used to like fully press and just sap the life out of any team? And I hate it as a City fan watching it when like a Brentford just sit there 10 men in the box and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah,
why are we doing this?
To watch, but...
Yeah, it's just like why are we doing like, and that's how I see MFL. Like I'll just go in and specifically buy for what I want.
But if you're looking at like their career data, like, you know, how they've, like, if you're buying a striker and that striker, you look at it, it's, oh, he scored loads of goals. Look at that. He's brilliant. He could be the striker I want, but he could have been in an OP team for that division. So he could have been outscoring. So that's why I try and strip out their like back performance.
The flip side of that as well, if they've been poor, they might have been a really bad team, you know. So maybe it's not down to the player; it's down to the team or manager. So
well, what I'll do is I'll look at someone and I'll go right. So I do it in like sectors. So like I'll look at someone on the base of like I said, Cloud. I looked at him and I was like, he's never progressed. Great, he's 24. But that high shooting should, no matter what, with the amount of teams I've got, should always fit somewhere. Even if that means dropping him down to stone or ice or whatever. Just drop him down there, let him smash, let him come back up kind of thing, see how he does. But I always look specifically. So say if I'm going to buy someone off you, David, I'll look and I'll go, right, David really like put in a really good team this year. So on a rating scale, I might give him like a 2 or 3. And then I'll look at the season after that where you might have got promoted and you'll chuck him in again. And I'm like, right, so I'll look at it from a league basis. I think some players, like I've got a player on my Santiago City roster, on my Manchester City roster, called Stephen Hoosby or whatever. He was like an animal in ice. But I'm like, I can't put a 78 rated in ice. Like I said, I want to be competitive, but I'm not going to be that guy that just goes and smashes the league for no reason, unless I have to do that. But he was like prolific in ice. I think he got 38 goals one season. I can't remember exactly. Like my memory is terrible for like the exact amounts, but he smashed in one season. And then he went to Stone, smashed again. But then in Iron this year, it's not really doing much. So I think some players, almost like good enough, kind of like the footballing English pyramid. Like you have Jamie Vardy, that's kind of like the anomaly that's come all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get like people like Carlton Morris that were kind of like, yeah, they were good, but not a Prem level good. You know what I mean? Like
Reminds me of Timmy Vaughan.
yeah, well, that's exactly, you know,
Ramble
like,
legend.
Timmy Vaughan, like he was a superstar. I think he was the second guy ever that Hoodwink packed when he started out.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he was looking, so he's had him for a long time because Hoodwink's been around a lot longer than some of us.
Mm-hmm.
And he just always disappointed, didn't he? But he has been dropped down a division. I think he's been doing okay for what rating is he? 74.
72, I thought, 73. He's
Where's
flying
Timmy?
in ice, isn't he?
Where's Timmy? No, he must be higher than that. Oh, there we go. It's a good old Timmy Vaughan. Used to be black, then became white. Looks a bit like Kurt Torres, one of my players.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, progression to die for, literally. But not been a beast. And then if we look at his player page, and I think he had a good season, didn't he? And then like dropped off. And then you look at it here, like 4 goals, 7 goals, 6 goals, 3 goals, 7 goals. And then like he took him on loan. Bob took him on loan, 14 goals, 9 assists, not last season. Not awful stats. But he's been played in a lower division. And obviously as a 72 rated, he would have been like, when Hoodwink started the game, that would have been a decent player in Stone. And now he's probably Spark. If you want to win Spark, that's the kind of player you might need. And if you want to win Ice, you'd be a depth piece within the team. I don't know what division he's in. Yeah, he's in Ice.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the 72 used to be sort of top end Stone, really, when we started. So
I just think players get league locked. That's just, I think no matter what, like you could have a 99 player and you think, oh yeah, it'd be great in Diamond. But like, I just think there's something more to the cards that we don't see. And like, that's again, like put my tinfoil hat on. I just think like there's just a league lock. And I feel like they get to a certain point and they're kind of like, right, I can't do it anymore. Like, and I think that happens more often than not because I remember playing against a guy called Kalmar in one of the seasons with Santiago City before I sold them and bought them back. He scored like 40 goals in Stone. Went since because he's also whoever owns him now always wants to push him into like iron and stuff. Like I just don't understand it. Go and buy a Stone team, put him in there, and watch him score, and like continue that cycle. Like I think we spoke about it, Kevin, getting teams up and getting the cash out of them. I think if you've got someone that's good, like I said, who's be there that's probably good for Ice. If I know that he can cannon me up to Stone, and I can go, well, I don't really care about this club anymore. Let's go and start from the bottom. Just let him build you up to the point of his threshold. And that's what I'm saying. I think that just some players have thresholds. Like I've got Goddard, like I said, the centre mid that got a hat trick last night, 75 rated. You look at some Ice teams now, 75 rated centre mid are doing there. He's scoring hat tricks in iron. Like clearly he's got a bigger appetite than most. That's just how when I'm looking at it, I'm like, right, how well have they performed in them leagues for me to justify any purchase on them? If someone,
I know you've been buying a couple of players in the last few days.
Yeah.
So like yesterday, Pedro Gil.
Yeah, he looks pretty good as a centre back. I think he's been deployed a lot in Stone and stuff like that. But again, I look at it and like I said, I kind of give every player a rating base of like. It sounds like a professional club when I talk about my clubs, but it's not. It's just I think I like to run it like that in my own head. And being the City group on MFL, like, I like to run it.
It's part of the beauty of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you were talking about badges before, so I don't know if you've noticed, but every badge specifically for all my teams have all got like in the middle. Obviously, it's mainly a City badge kind of thing. mixed with like an Inter Miami pink. It's only because my son loves Messi. He's only 6 and like he loves. Some of them I've not changed around yet, but they've all got like the skyline of that city where they're from. So it's just like little details like that, and like all the badges will change. So when we go into next year, it's from the club when I've overtaken them. So like it's 2025 on there now. Obviously, going on. But yeah, it's just...
nice. Right, I think we've been going for what, an hour and 3/4 now. So it's been a long ramble today. Don't want to go too much longer because people fume then when it comes to listening to the audio. I have said it before, but just in case people didn't see the audio version, it takes a day for YouTube to sort of upload and sort all the stuff out. Then I can download it and put the audio version on. So the audio version will always be the day after. And if it isn't there, feel free to at me in the Discord or remind me. But before we get out of here, anything else you want to say, Kev?
No, not really. Just great to have MiniMe on, and good luck to everyone for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, it's always great getting new people on. Really appreciate you joining us, MiniMe, and I'm sure we'll have you on. Yeah, I know you said that you've been thinking about doing some more content, and we might see some in the not too distant future. What channel will that be under?
So that'll be under my actual MiniMe. So it's in the chat and stuff. Hopefully content coming out soon of like more of an explanation of what I'll be doing in the future of around MFL. But as a note, I'd just like to thank you two guys. This is like the first proper podcast I've ever been on, and it's just like been a great experience. But also, just like I'd like to thank the whole community as a whole, because like I said, I will never go out my way to try and talk to someone if I can, just because I feel like sometimes, especially messages on stuff like that. But like before the Paris meetup, I messaged Jimbo and just like, explain, like I said, like I'm not great, and he helped a lot. Obviously, Kev has always been there when I've messaged. Hoodwink got me into Cecilia, so he's the goat. You know what I mean? But like I said, Quinny, like he's always chatted and stuff. But I'd just like to say thanks to our community as a whole, because everyone I found in this community are very approachable when you do go to messages. With that being, like I said, Ron John the other night when we were speaking about teams, or whether that be negotiating, sometimes like the simple thing of like, no, I'm not willing to negotiate, it's just fine with me, like that's great. Whereas like I found on other platforms, they're like, no, why would I want to go? I'm like, mate, just say no and we're good. So yeah, just as a community as a whole, like it's been great to be on here, and thank you to you guys, and then thank you to everyone else as well. Like,
thank you very much for joining us.
No worries at all.
Hopefully we'll get you back on and again in the future, and I look forward to seeing the content you put out. But yeah,
thank you very much.
It's been great. But we shall be back next week as always. Don't know who with who yet, but could be a surprise.
Could be a new guest. Could be a new one.
Yeah, another new guest talking tactics again. Is it the guy? We're not going to say who it is. Is it the guy that's the brains behind somebody else? Kev.
What? Kev's got a twin. What?
Right. Anyway, we'll be back next week and we'll announce on the day who the guest is. But thank you very much for joining us. Please subscribe to the channel. It would be much appreciated. We'll love you forever. But we'll be back next week. Bye.